Hello and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you're all doing good today. I have got a very important special topic for you guys. It's MSMEs, right? Challenges faced by MSMEs. We are going to talk about recent big announcement coming from Prime Minister Modi about MSME. And we are also going to talk about some critical views that are coming from, or critical opinion from an expert in this field. So what it is all about, don't worry about it. I will break it down for you guys. But before that, I would like to inform all of you that flat 60% off is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. To find out more about it, do check out studyiq.com. Mind you, 28th November is the last date. Now, Prime Minister Modi has announced a big support for MSME, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. And this announcement or this support has, the political as well as economic reasons behind it. Now, as far as political reasons are concerned, if you are supporting MSME, where 11 crore people of our country are working in MSME sector. So if you are announcing something that will directly, indirectly impact the lives of this 11 crore people, then it's going to be a big thing, isn't it, in terms of political points. But it is more important, more than this political points, we have to be, its impact is going to be a bit bigger in terms of this economic arena. Now, first of all, let me break it down what exactly government has announced. MSMEs can now get in principle approval for loans of up to 1 crore rupees in 59 minutes. See, if you are a MSME, if you apply for a loan, right, then first of all, we all know that, I'm sure we all are aware about this thing, that you have to collect your documents. Collect in the sense you have to gather your documents, and then you have to fill up some forms, and then you have to apply for a loan. Now, for big companies, just imagine if Tata's and Reliance, if they are seeking a loan, then bank managers and decision makers will be in direct contact with this, with this top officers. But here, the main person has to visit bank, and he or she has to convince this bank people, and there's lack of trust and lack of interest and so many things from bank's side. So it's a bit difficult to get a loan, particularly for MSMEs. The other thing is, it will take time. It used to take time, but now government has assured that in 59 minutes, if you submit all your necessary documents, then this in principle approval, whether you will get it or not, you will come to know about this thing in 59 minutes. So that's a big change, right? That's going to impact our economy if things, if the things that are announced, if we can see a practical manifestation of this thing, then it's going to improve, I would say, economic scenario of our country, particularly for MSMEs. Now, MSMEs, they play a very important role because, see, the share of MSMEs in the country's GVA, that is gross value added, is estimated to be 32%. 45% of manufacturing output is coming from MSMEs, and as far as our total exports are concerned, 40% of our exports are supplied by MSMEs. So any sort of support to MSME is going to change the face of our economy. Now, our government has also announced that if your MSME is GST registered, then you will get interest subvention as well. And the biggest challenge so far for this MSME, and let me add one more thing, right? This is important too, for fresh as well as incremental loans. For both loans, right, both types of loans, you will get interest subvention if your MSME is registered with GST. Now, for MSME, as you know, access was a big problem because banks are a bit skeptical. Banks are not that much, inclined to give loans to these MSMEs. And for bigger companies, most of the loans of these banks are going to bigger companies. So access to credit is or was a problematic, or in fact it is, right, a big hurdle for MSMEs, and cost of credit as well is a big problem, because see, most of the banks are saddled with non-performing assets, right? This is something that we all know. The good news or a ray of hope is that non-banking financial companies and their share of money that is supplied to MSMEs has gone up a little bit. So that's a good news, but still, most of our MSMEs are struggling. They are paying higher amount of interest because as you know, that if they don't have access to formal loan providing or this loan providing sector, then they have to knock the doors of this this informal or this personal or this private money lenders, and this private money lenders, they are going to charge extra amount of interest. Of course, we can understand this thing that MSMEs, they don't have proper documents, because 90% of our MSMEs are operating in informal sector, and this is a big hurdle here. Now, here you can see that government is encouraging directly, indirectly, that MSMEs should register themselves with GST. So registration with the GST will, gradually change our MSMEs into, it will bring them into light from darkness. So it will bring them into, it will include them into this formal business. So because 90% of MSMEs are operating in informal sector, the source of their credit is also predominantly coming from informal sector. Now, it is difficult for these firms to get loans from banks because they do not have, they don't maintain, or they do not maintain proper documents and records. They don't know how to maintain this proper documents and records. Most of them, they don't have time for this thing. They don't have division of work for this maintenance of documents, and they don't understand the value. I'm not saying that they are if they can, and if they are trained, then they will do, because for them it's going to be a profitable thing if they can get formal loans from proper sources or from formal sources. Now, at a broader level, right, since most of firms are very small, besides non-availability of formal finance, they are also not in a position to adopt technology to improve productivity. They don't attract skilled laborers, of course, because they have to pay higher amount, and skilled labor, he or she will not find that big opportunities, isn't it, with small, medium and micro enterprises. So these are the problems here. These are the challenges through which MSME is going through. Now, let me tell you one more thing, that see, digitization is helping, GST is helping, right? More and more firms are gradually coming into this formal arena, but at the same time, this demonetization played a very negative role. It was a big blow for this MSMEs, and last portion of this discussion is about this warning that is been, this red flag that has been raised by our former RBI governor Raghuram Rajan. He has said that both Mudra as well as this Kisan credit, both these schemes are popular, and there are high chances that this too, easy access to loans for this for farmers as well as for small businesses, this two schemes, or a big chunk of the money that is given under these two schemes can be converted, or there are high chances that it will become non-performing assets. So that's a big red flag. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that, see, it's a good news that government is trying to make sure that within 59 minutes one will know whether he or she will get a loan for his or her business, yes or no. This answer will be given to you within 59 minutes. But we have to make sure that we don't want to see this NPA situation under this Mudra and other loans, because see, already our banks are struggling with NPAs, and if our schemes are also turning out if the money that has been given under this scheme is also turning into NPA, then that is going to be a big blow for our economy. So we have to be very careful here. Government is heading in right direction, intention is right, but we have to set up this overall regulatory architecture, and we have to make sure that we are not giving out this signal at all. May it be, political points are important for any government, but that does not mean that we ignore this, we don't want to see this negative credit culture where people are borrowing money and then they are not paying it back, knowing that loan waiver will be given to them during next election. During this next election campaign, government will declare this loan waivers and things like that. So we have to be very careful here. So that's everything about this special topic. If we find something more about this thing, then of course I will provide it to you as an add-on. So I hope so far things are clear. Now let's move on to news items that we have. Our Vice President was in Africa. He visited 3 countries, and the last country was this one, Malawi. Malawi is a country that you can see here. Our President was in Zimbabwe. He was in Botswana, and then he is here in Malawi. So Malawi is, yes, of course, a very important country for India, because we share, cordial ties with Malawi. And our Vice President was there. He addressed our Indian community, Indian diaspora living in Malawi. He said that Indians living in any part of the world, particularly in Malawi, right, they are cultural ambassador representing India's values and way of life. Vice President also said that share and care is a core of Indian philosophy. The Vice President asked the Indian community to keep building bridges of understanding and empathy, as they have been doing for so many decades. He also said that share your prosperity with your Malawian brothers and sisters and make them partners in progress. With this, dear friends, moving on to another news item very important for our country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was there to receive this crew of Arihant, INS Arihant, and INS Arihant is not an ordinary submarine. It is a strategic strike nuclear submarine, that is SSBN. And it is a pride moment for our country, because only handful of countries have this capacity or capability to design, construct and operate a SSBN, that is a strategic strike nuclear submarine. The submarine recently returned from its first deterrence patrol. Right, with this deterrence patrol, we have completed this establishment of countries' survivable nuclear triad. Now, nuclear triad means we can launch nuclear missiles from air, from land and from sea as well. That's a big achievement for our country. Prime Minister has appreciated and applauded the role played by all those people. This is you can say a display of country's technological prowess, synergy as well as coordination among all concerned people. And Prime Minister also thanked all those brains and hands who are behind this success, and the Prime Minister said that their dedication and commitment has helped us achieve this nuclear triad. Prime Minister also stated that the people of India aspire for a Shaktiman Bharat, that means a strong India. Now moving on to next item, Ayush, right? Ayush Ministry, Minister of State for Ayush, Sripad Yeso Nayak has announced that Ayurveda departments will be opened in 19 aims throughout the country, and theme for this mission is Ayurveda for public health. Of course, Ayurveda is a very important branch, or you can say a very special branch of medicine, and it's quite traditional as well as quite ancient as well. There are so many crores and crores of people out there in our country. They benefit from Ayurvedic medicine system, and prevention of non-communicable disease is one of our top priority. In our country we have these communicable diseases, and then from last few decades we are seeing this rise of non-communicable diseases as well, because of our lifestyles and stress and so many things. So Ayurveda can help us all in this thing. Dr. Harshvardhan was also present. He used to be our health minister earlier on. So he said that he emphasized upon the scientific integration of Ayush system of medicines. Third Ayurveda Day is being celebrated throughout the nation, and this occasion is celebrated. The reason why we celebrate this Ayurveda Day on this date is because it matches with Dhanvantri Jayanti, right? Dhanvantri is the main person who is associated with Ayurveda. So keep this thing in mind. Moving on to another item. This is from 5th November, of course. We have some items from 6th November as well. Now, Ministry of Commerce and Industry has got this news for us that China's Ministry of Commerce invited India to set up this, to take part in this first China International Import Expo that took place in Shanghai. And we took part in this thing, and our pavilion focused on key sectors such as food, agro products, pharmaceuticals, IT and ITEs, tourism and services sector. China is India's largest trading partner because, the bilateral trade between these two countries is highest. As far as India is concerned, our biggest trading partner largest trading partner is China. And we are expecting to touch 100 billion mark per year. Can you imagine 100 billion trade with one country that India is doing is China? Or we are not that far from 100 billion. We are somewhere around 80 plus, somewhere around 80, between 80 billion to 90. So adding 10 billion is not a big deal as far as India and China is concerned. Both countries have expressed to resolve to address India's concern regarding large trade deficit. We have one update as well on 6th of November. So we are going to talk about this thing in a minute. But let's cover some more news items that is coming from 5th of November. Now, Ministry of Finance has got this news that Finance Commission of India, this 15th Finance Commission and its members, it is headed by, the chairman is Shri N.K. Nayak. Sorry about that. Shri N.K. Nayak is the chairman of this 15th Finance Commission, and Mr. N.K. Singh with his team interacted with Minister of External Affairs Sushma Swaraj and other senior officials of this MEA ministry. And the reason why they interacted, or why this sort of exercise took place, because this is how it works. This Finance Commission, this 15th Finance Commission will come into action from 2020 to 25. So this 5 years are for 15th Finance Commission. So before that, this commission will interact with every minister and every important ministries, and every minister and every ministry, and then they will go through these big themes like what are the challenges are faced by them and things like that. So that's what they did. There are so many projects that are supported by our country in various different countries, like say for example Afghanistan, and timely completion of these projects are important for us as well as for our friendly countries. So that is it is important that adequate resources are always available with MEA. So this is something that was highlighted by Sushma Swaraj ji, or you can say Ministry of External Affairs. Now we have a very important scheme, right? This important strategy or mission is called Operation Greens, and this will work under Ministry of Food Processing Industry. This Operation Greens was announced during this budget speech of 2018-19. Rupees 500 crore is been set up, or you can say outlaid, for this scheme, and the main purpose here is to make sure that we have stability in supply of tomato, onions and potatoes, right? TOP, these three are known as top crops. So top crops, this tomato, onions and potatoes are those crops that are used, generally speaking, all across the board in our country. So their proper supply is important, because we see this, prices fluctuating, and this makes our this impacts our inflation, and then it impacts our economy. It impacts poor people as well. So proper supply will be maintained, or will be it will be ensured that these top crops are always available in adequate quantity in the market with the help of this Operation Greens. Now, Ministry of Road Transport and Highway has got one update for us, and then we will talk about 6th November's news items. This one is last item from 5th November. There is a company called Webcourse. Webcourse is a leading engineering consultancy organization of the government of India, which has grown into an Indian multinational with projects in 45 countries across the world. And then you have this Doppelmayr. It's an Austrian company, not Australian, Austrian company. And it is world's largest ropeway manufacturer with cutting-edge ropeway technologies. And what we are trying to achieve here is, right, we have signed an MOU with this Webcourse has signed this MOU with this Austrian company, and we are going, we are looking for this ropeway. If we can use ropeway in various different pockets of our country, in hilly region as well as in city area. So some big projects for future will be decided by, at least this is a first, I would say, first step when we sign this MOU. So in 6th November's news items, what we find is the Vice President Secretariat has got an update about this, conclusion of our Vice President's visit to 3 African nations, that is Botswana, Zimbabwe and Malawi. We were just talking about Malawi, isn't it? Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi had recently set out 10 guiding principles to enhance our engagement with Africa, and interaction of our Vice President with the leaders of these 3 African nations has been cordial, full of affection and warmth. In fact, you can see here that President of Botswana broke a protocol and flew back from his visit to Mozambique to meet the Vice President when he was leaving for Zimbabwe at the airport. And we have provided them lines of credits as well as grants and other things, and it's a very important visit, right? This visit that is just concluded has been very important in bringing these African nations a bit closer to our country. Ministry of Commerce and Industry has got a small update for us. I believe we have talked about this thing in our previous PIB discussions. So 5th edition of this 10-day Women of India National Organic Festival 2018 has culminated. And the good thing is, last year the total sale was 1.84 crore rupees. This year it is 2.75 crore rupees. So it's going up. It's been, roughly speaking, approx 1 crore addition, which is not bad. Ministry of Commerce and Industry has got one news item, and this is update of what we have talked about earlier on. It's about India and China. Whilst taking part in this CIIB, CIIE, in fact, we have our Commerce Minister was accompanied by a big delegation, and we have expressed our concerns regarding this large trade deficit that we find in this bilateral trade that we have with China. We have also acknowledged this thing, that Chinese government is a bit serious about getting rid of this large trade deficit. It's not that Chinese government is not aware about this thing. Chinese government is aware about this thing, and it is doing everything possible to make sure that this big gap that we find is reduced as soon as possible. We have also, batted for this thing that our few areas, there are few areas like agricultural products are there, pharmaceuticals are there, information technology services and tourism. These are few areas, right, where India has, in which India has proved our strength, and we would like an opportunity to present these items in Chinese market, and China has assured that it will do everything that is possible to make sure that we can do this thing. So that's an update from what we have already talked about. And the last item of the day is that India has been elected as a member of International Telecommunications Union Council for another 4 years, from 2019 to 2022. The elections to the council were held during ongoing ITU this conference that took place in Dubai, UAE. There are 193 member states in this ITU, and we ranked third amongst 13 countries that are elected for this council. Third in terms of number of votes. We got 165 votes, which is not bad. So dear friends, that's everything in today's discussion, right? You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my FB page and Twitter handle. That's everything. I'll see you all soon. Till then, God bless you all. Jai Hind.